People of the world, welcome to Send It Rising Live. This the 354th episode. Let me tell you, I've said it before. I'm going to keep saying it. I don't care if it's annoying. I don't believe in coincidences. And the folks that show up on the show are here by no coincidence. I feel like the universe conspires in my favor and that the conversations that we've been having and have had are excellent. Backstage, me and our guest today, we're talking about a little bit of grammar. We're talking about some ancestry stuff. We're talking about the future of the internet. I don't know. Did you know that you can add eyebrows on Zoom and you got facial touching, like, how do you explain it? Retouching features. So I was theorizing that basically we're all going to be in an avatar land where everyone's pretty all the time. Everyone's going to be dating a model. And I think both me and my guest believe that that is kind of a dystopian nightmare in a way, but maybe we're just getting a little bit older. Ugly Mug Marketing. You may be familiar with them. Wayne, the guest from a few months back, has an incredible company. And Hannah, our guest today, happens to be leading the charge. She every day wakes up, hops on a unicorn, takes out her magical sword, and proceeds to slay the social media of the enemies of her social media clients. She is absolutely incredible. You're going to love her to bits. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Hannah Acosta.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here.
It's good times.
Wow. Hopping on a unicorn and slaying my clients' competitors.
That's
I'm gonna
right.
have to start using that. That's awesome.
Brutally massacring them with no regrets. Especially when you're doing work for, what is it, your bankruptcy clients?
Yes. Bankruptcy attorney. Come on, guys. It's spicy.
That's right. So we were chatting a little bit about that backstage, about having to, when you work for a company, many times the sales and operations departments are at a little bit at ends, right? I get it because I've been in sales, I've been in operations. From an operations perspective, it's sort of like, what am I supposed to do with this? And from a sales perspective, they're like, do you have any idea how hard it is to close business? Like, of course we want to take on this client. So there's that tension that exists usually.
Yes.
So when you have a client where it is tricky beans, what do? Just get creative?
Yeah, we really have to get creative, especially I think our trickiest and our hardest clients are oftentimes people who have worked with other agencies or they're coming into social media with some skepticism. They don't believe that it actually can work for their business or that they actually can use social media to turn a profit. They've maybe dumped in hundreds of dollars into Facebook ads but see no return. And suddenly now I have to have the magic wand and hop on my unicorn and figure out how I'm actually going to turn it into a moneymaker for them and their business. And we've had that with one of our largest clients. They came to us 2 years ago in the month of December, and they said, hey, we just tried this with another agency. It didn't work out, but we're going to give you guys the month of December, which is the craziest month for a variety of different reasons, right? Like, it's crazy in the ad space because everyone's running ads during the holidays trying to get the attention of course, the exact same people that we're trying to get the attention of. And then also it's like, all right, we got vacation time, trying to get things approved from them. We're in and out of the office. Like, how are we going to make this work? It's like 30 days to make this happen. Try more like 15 days really to make this happen once you take all of that out. So those are probably the trickiest clients. Those that are coming in with some skepticism, we have to get really creative on how we're going to provide results for them and show them that, hey, this is actually working for your business.
Yeah, December is such an interesting month to me because people just check out. At around this time, December 15th, like they're donezo. But marketing companies sometimes don't have that luxury simply because December is a big sales month and there's also e-commerce issues. And then there's a lot of sort of turnover, I feel like, in December. That's when people, even if they, I shouldn't say that. It's like sometimes there's annual contracts with marketing businesses. Sometimes there isn't. We're month to month. And so we expect December to be sort of get a lot of clients, but maybe lose some time too. So do you notice that in your agency where people kind of go, yeah, I should be looking forward to 2022 and they're coming up with plans. And then other clients are like, you know what, we're going to try something else.
Yeah, we definitely see the ebb and flow of that. it's not a perfect world, right? So clients aren't going to sign with us and work with us forever. So we are constantly trying to figure out, all right, how can we create this element of a remarkable experience and keep them wanting to come back month after month. So we usually have a contract with our clients that, hey, 3 months, 6 months, if you're not feeling it, this isn't working out, no pressure to continue. I'm not in the game of trying to trick someone to keep paying us money. This has to be mutually beneficial. Otherwise, you are going to leave at the end of that 3 months, or you are going to leave at the end of that 6 months. But hey, if I can get you to stay month to month rolling after that because I'm giving you the results that you want, AKA helping you make more money, getting more butts and seats at your restaurant, getting more people visiting your website, adding to cart and actually checking out. If I'm actually providing that, people are going to stay, right? But we definitely have that ebb and flow of, hey, our fiscal year is coming to an end and we have to determine, do we have money to allocate towards this next year? We've added more people to our team, or we've had some leadership changes, and these people don't believe in social media, but we do. And so hang on, we're going to have to try to convince them over the next couple of months, or can you give us some end of the year reports that we can share with them to show them, hey, you should continue working with us, or whatever that may look like. So yeah, definitely see the ebb and flow of people coming and going. But we also host every other year a big business summit in the month of December, which people usually think we're really crazy for doing. They're like, how are you guys hosting this like massive event and coordinating all these speakers traveling across the country to come and speak at this? And usually it sells out. It sold out again this year, which was awesome. But that usually increases a lot of inquiries and business for us on our end, whether they're coming to us for social media or they're coming to us for general marketing or a website. I mean, it really varies. But so December is a crazy month in the marketing world. We don't get a lot of sleep or a lot of time off.
That's
That is
wild.
for sure.
I have a question. I feel like in 2022, the weight and value of business owners' willingness to get in front of the camera to produce content where they're the face will only increase. What do you think about brands, like the owners or someone in the company being the face of the brand? What value does that bring?
It brings a tremendous amount of value. When we start with our clients, one of the very first campaigns that we run, I don't care if you have been in business for 30 years or you've been in business for 30 days. One of the very first campaigns that we run is Meet the Team. Because here's what it does. We run this campaign, oh, meet so-and-so, they're the owner of this business. When they're not working, you'll catch them at the soccer field chasing Johnny and Jenny around, and they'll be providing the snacks. And then you'll also catch them running in and out of Target with a Starbucks in their hand because they love coffee. And we add all of these elements of, hey, this is a real person, right? Like, I'm a business owner, but I'm also a parent, or I'm also an aunt, or I'm also a member of my local church. We add in all of these human elements, run this as a campaign, and you know what it does? It creates social proof. It helps all of our evangelists that are out there. They hop on in the comments and they say, hey, oh my gosh, I love her. She's so great. We've been using them for I'm making this up, our heating and cooling. We've been using the best heating and cooling company for so many years. Oh, John is awesome. He's a wonderful owner. My son works there. All of these people come out of the woodwork and they just want to support this one human that they know. And they might not even know them because they've used their product or service before. They just know them because their kids play soccer together, or they've seen them in line at Starbucks, or whatever it may be. It adds this human element, and it allows us to start developing a relationship. As crazy as that sounds, it allows businesses to develop a relationship with these prospective customers, or further the relationship with people who already are customers and who are evangelists. And we use the term evangelist at Ugly Mug Marketing a lot, like this. Hey, we want to find more evangelists, people who are going to rant and rave about our product or service or our business or our team members. Go and tell everyone and their mother, you need to use this business. Or you're thinking about hiring another HVAC company? No, you need to go hire this HVAC company. Or you're thinking about using another marketing agency? No, you need to use this agency. So putting business owners' faces, or your team members, the people who actually interact with your customers, putting them on the forefront and allowing them to drive your brand and be the face of the campaign, gosh, it can do crazy good things for your business.
Yeah, I'm reminded, and I've mentioned this on the show before. Keith Hernandez was a guest star on an old Seinfeld episode, and
Yes.
he
Love that
basically,
episode.
yeah, he level jumped when he asked Jerry to help him move, and Jerry's like, "Wait, wait, 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 wait. We are not that kind of friend.
Yeah.
What gives?" And I finally took me years to recognize this because I made a lot of money from my BNI chapter. And the reason why I did was because I kept meeting the same people over and over and over again. And I just didn't sell them anymore. I just developed a relationship with them. And then eventually the money came from that. And on speed networking, there's this idea that you're supposed to talk about your business. I'm supposed to talk about my business, but that's level jumping, right? So on speed
Mm.
networking, I finally learned it's, hey, how's it going? They always do that. Everyone level jumps all the time. They're like, oh, what do you do for a living? I'm like, digital marketing, WordPress, SEO, blogging, great. Tell me about, this thing that you love. Like, what's that thing in the background? What's this? Do you have kids? Oh, my kids just did this stupid thing the other day. Like, just whatever it takes to actually see them as a human being, because it does not work. I've level jumped for like a year now, and there's no point. There's no point in even talking about it because everyone hates commercials. Very rarely do we actually look at a commercial and go, I enjoy that. So I like that perspective, which is, hey, look, let's not level jump. Let's say, hey, hi, how's it going? Here's my kids. Here's my dog. Here's my, what I love, whatever. And then it begins the process. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's say you've been running those campaigns for a while. You do just eventually hit them with an ad, right? You're like, oil
Oh,
change, $19.99, right?
oh, absolutely.
Do you ever,
Absolutely.
do you ever get, is it just coupons? Like, what's working, to get people to convert?
Gosh, it really depends on the industry.
Pick one.
I'm gonna go with heating and cooling. That's
Yeah.
probably my favorite client that I work with. We work with a company called Southern Air. They have probably 60 plus locations across the Gulf, and we help them specifically with social media marketing. And over the last couple of years, we've really had to figure out what is it that's going to make someone choose their heating and cooling company over the next guy, right? What's going to make them want to maybe pay a little bit more of a premium for an HVAC system over someone who's just a guy doing it out of his truck who can probably do it for maybe half the price or a third of the price, whatever it may be. How do we compete with that, right? We've been reading this book by Russell Brunson, Expert Secrets. And in the book, he talks about there's no value at being the second cheapest in your market, but there is value in being the most expensive in your market. And I think for my client, sometimes they are the most expensive in their market. And so being able to provide context as to why they're most expensive in the market has been really successful in their campaigns. Actually listing out, all right, if you do a tune up with us, it's $69. We know Joe Schmo down the road, you can do a $25 tune up. But here's every single thing that our technician's going to do to your AC unit or your furnace when they come to your house. And simply listing out that checklist does an abundance of things because it does this really simply. It does this. It increases the perceived value of what we're offering, right? So Joe Schmo's doing it for $25, but they're not listing out all the details of what their technician's going to offer for that 25 bucks. He might just come and add some Freon to your unit and then he's gone, right? But here is what you're going to get with the Southern Air experience. The technician's going to come to your house. We're going to schedule your appointment. You're going to get a text alert when they're on their way to your house. They're going to greet you at the door. They're going to come. They're going to clean your coils. They're going to get rid of any debris from the fall as we're heading into winter. They're going to add Freon. They're going to, we're listing out every single little detail of the checklist so that if somebody wanted to stand outside and make sure, all right, this technician, I want to make sure that they're actually doing everything on here, they have the same checklist that the technician has. And being transparent with the prospective customer or heck, the repeat customer. We have people that are already in the database that are signing up for, hey, we want this $69 tune-up heading into the winter months. But they're already in the system, but that's great. We're hitting them again, right? We've increased the perceived value. We've got that checklist. We know we're more expensive, but here's everything that you're going to get for this price. That's working really well right now for them.
Yeah. It's funny to me because I didn't grow up in a home with a lot of money. And I think a lot of people don't
Yeah.
grow up in, but it turns out that there's so much money. People have so much money. Like when you get out of that sort of like middle class and you realize just how robust and big the upper middle class is, especially in the United States. I mean, there are people, net worth 700,000, million 2, million 8, net worth 2.6, way more common than you would think. And they
Yeah.
don't care about $40. It is an absolute meaningless sort of thing. Like at the end of the day, it just makes no difference. And there's a
Yeah.
large swath of people where that, it's, I guess, like Target versus Walmart, whatever that means. Amazon versus Walmart.com, right? I don't know, whatever you want to
Yeah.
say in terms of, like the bifurcation of society, but
Yeah.
that was a pill I had to swallow. And the other pill I had to swallow is nobody, I don't know, I shouldn't say nobody, but in my life, nobody's just going to write me a check. Like I have friends that are wealthy. No one writes you a check. Like when I was a kid, I used to think, oh, if I just made friends with millionaires, like they would just give me money. I don't know why I thought that, because they have so much money. Like, why would they need $4.5 million? And now I have all these millionaire friends, and I'm just like, of course they're not going to. You know what I mean? Like this.
Yeah.
But if you offer a service, they don't. It's just like whatever. Like, what's $70? Okay, it's fine.
Yeah. No big deal.
Yeah. So it doesn't even flinch. Just nothing. So,
yeah. Kind of
so
on that topic, not to get us on a tangent, but I was scrolling on Instagram a couple of months ago, and I saw this post, and I think it was a screenshot from Twitter, let's be real. But it was a post that said, what did you view as wealth as a child? Like if somebody had this, how did you perceive wealth as a kid? And I loved reading the comments on that because it was so wildly fascinating to me because, yeah, as a kid, you don't really know what money is, right? Like you don't really have a concept of money, but man, I knew if somebody had Guitar Hero in a finished basement, I was like, you're rich. Your family is rich. You're crazy. You have Guitar Hero, like the whole drum, like the whole thing. I'm like, are you kidding me? And you have a PlayStation? Oh my God, like mind blowing, right? Like how perception of wealth and money just like it can be so simple as that. Another comment said, if you had a refrigerator that had a water machine in it, that meant that you were rich. Or if your house had 2 floors instead of it was just a 1-story house. I'm like, what? This is
so
crazy
fascinating because it's like in the end, I think we just need to love what exists. And that's the ultimate like philosophical enlightenment to me is loving reality as it is, including fearful thoughts and anxiety and all that stuff, actually loving it, addressing it and seeing it. That being said, I feel like a lot of people get into this mode of their fantasy about what they want to be is trapped in that era, and it's not reproducible, which is to say it used to be a big deal to get your song on the radio. That was a big deal. It's radio. Who cares about radio anymore? Right?
Yeah.
It's meaningless. Now it's like number of Spotify views. Or it used to be really, really incredible if you could get on TV. It's like now it's like if you have like 6 million views on YouTube, who cares?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
It's like I'm not going to be on Total Request Live with Carson Daly for my song.
Stop. Do people even know what that is anymore? People don't.
Leave a comment, if you're listening to
Yeah.
this after the fact. If you who's Carson Daly? But yeah, I mean, the show always ends up getting spiritual and it always ends up getting philosophical because of how I am, but also because what I love to talk about and the nature of the cool guests that we have on. Let's talk about the ethics of marketing for a second, right?
Yeah.
There is a line that you won't cross, I'm sure, in terms of what you'd be willing to market and whatever. I feel like back in the day, advertisements were unethical. I feel like if you're sitting there watching Nickelodeon as a kid and they're hitting you with all this stuff, it was kind of like the old school form of like Facebook. Look, everything's great. Look how happy everyone is. Like if you only had this toy, you would be happy. And I can see the negative ramifications of that, just thinking that this stuff's going to make you happy and advertisers selling you cherry Coke and then you had like Marlboro advertising and Camel and all that crap. I got away with getting into marketing because I was an SEO first and I didn't see any problem with that. I was like, if you're looking for a plumber and we show up number one for plumber, like what's wrong
Yeah,
with that? There's nothing wrong with that.
totally.
So where do you fall on the sort of marketing that you do? And are there any ethical quandaries in it, or are you cool, or is there some gray area?
I think when we at Ugly Mug are discussing working with someone, they inquire, we have to take a step back and say, all right, does this align with our core values? Right? That's where we kind of start with our ethics. Is this client someone that we feel comfortable working with? What is it that they're selling? Are they asking us to promote their business in an unethical way? If so, then we're sorry, we can't work with you. We have no problem turning business away. I have no problem turning someone away who has been working with us, but they've repeatedly been disrespectful to my team. That's also a line that I draw too. I know that has nothing to do with what they may be selling, but it has everything to do with maybe the way that they conduct their business once I send them a customer, right? So we have various different boundaries and lines, I guess you could say, at Ugly Mug Marketing. But for me, I'm constantly thinking about, is this product or service that I'm promoting, is this actually going to benefit, make someone's life easier? Is it really something that's practical, that's going to make their life better? And is this coming from a place of I'm trying to help this person, or could this be perceived as being deceitful or some type of trickery, right? And Facebook has a lot of policies and rules that you have to follow and things that you can and can't say. And ultimately, I think it's very good. It's for the protection, ultimately, of the user. And there are policies around calling out someone's physical attributes or their mental health. And I think that those things are very, very good, right? We have clients who offer liposuction and Botox injections and things of that nature. But the way that we go about promoting that is not saying, hey, you need this, or are you currently looking at your phone and squinting right now? Do you notice how you have that little wrinkle in between your eyes? Like, we can help you get rid of that. Like, I'm not trying to trick someone or make them feel bad about themselves that they need this product or service. It's like, hey, I can help you. It's coming from a different place, and you really have to think about the intentions of the copy that you're writing, the intentions of the graphics and imagery that you're using, and the intentions of the companies that you're working with too as an agency. So I guess that kind of answers the question when it comes
Yeah.
to ethics. I think one thing though that really enlightened me and really helped me have this kind of darker side perspective to social media was watching that documentary on Netflix. I don't know if you watched it.
Social dilemma.
The Social Dilemma. That was like so wildly fascinating to me. And of course, it wasn't things that I had never considered after being in this industry. I think just to have it orchestrated and put together in such a way with executives from Pinterest and people that helped create Instagram, the layers of addiction to the platform that people can develop because of all the notifications that it's constantly sending you, and the need for us to always have our cell phones in our hand. I mean, man, it made me think twice, I will say, about my career. And okay, how do we consider that, take it seriously, and then find a way to make it better, right, for the user, but still provide a return on investment for our clients.
Yeah, it is a fascinating conundrum we find ourselves in, which is why my philosophy is love what actually exists. So in that vein, Frances Haugen, did you hear about her? Whistleblower, Facebook, everything that happened. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, so Facebook's actioning very little of the hate speech. They have a profit motive not to. But it's also true that the algorithm, it's very hard to detect this, and there's sarcasm and what do you pull and what do you don't. I'm not saying it's an easy job for Facebook, but
Yeah.
a lot of Facebook executives recently left, and Jack Dorsey just stepped down from Twitter. And
Saw that as
there's
well.
a million different sort of indicators that this golden era of, oh, we love our tech companies, we love our tech billionaires, like that, those days are gone. I mean, they're all testifying in front of Congress all of the time. And I think they're trying to get out, but I think they're afraid. I think, for example, if Zuckerberg were to leave now, he would lose that leverage he has as the CEO founder of Facebook, and it would make him more likely to be imprisoned or fined or whatever for stuff that would come during his tenure. If he stays the founder CEO, it's easier to kind of avoid that stuff if the mob really gets angry. And so I think about how liberating it is to have $1 billion, but also how trapped you are by it.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do you think Facebook is do they bear the burden of teen suicide? Do they bear the burden of like voting certain segments of the population getting misinformation, not doing anything about it? What do you think?
Gosh, I feel so many different ways about that. I follow a few different influencers, podcasters on social media, and a couple of my favorites, they don't allow their kids to have social media. They have teenagers who don't, they're like, yeah, sorry, you can't have Snapchat, you can't be on Facebook, you can't be on Instagram. And I think that that's so fascinating because I would imagine that there is some level of frustration in between parent and child in that moment, because I'm sure these kids are going to school and all of their friends have cell phones and all of their friends are on TikTok and are on Twitter and all of these social media platforms, but they're not. And I just think it would be so fascinating to see mental health wise or some sort of study of parents who are restricting their kids from these platforms versus parents who say, have at it. There's no rules with it. And it's also fascinating because my parents really didn't have, that wasn't a conversation that we really had to have. I remember getting a Facebook, but I'm like, I remember getting an MSN Messenger and my bank account, and my parents were like upset about that. Like, they were like, okay, well, you be friends, and you also have to be connected with like your dad and I, and so you can chat with us when we're at work, or whatever it may be. But I just don't remember having these like rules and regulations around that, and I certainly don't think my parents were thinking about how that would have affected my mental health. But I think about now getting to an age of, my husband and I are going to start our own family soon, thinking about, oh, babies seem like a breeze. It's once they start getting a cell phone and start getting on social media, I'm like, that is what scares me as a parent, right? Because now I am gonna place rules around that, because I do know the negative impact that it can have. There are studies that show this. Watch The Social Dilemma, people. We should be monitoring that to some extent for children. There should be some rules and regulations or around that, or parents should be enforcing that. I'm not saying you're a bad parent if you let your kids do whatever. I'm not a parent. I can hardly say that, right? But I do think it's interesting to see, especially in The Social Dilemma, they talk about the statistics of suicide and mental health, and the growth of that over the years, and the correlation between the growth in social media and different platforms and the access that we have to these different platforms, how easy it is to create a Facebook account, how easy it is to create an Instagram account, or to get connected with people who live across the country from you or across the world. I mean, it's a wild time. And then once you start thinking about politics, they also discuss that in The Social Dilemma too, and how over time we've gotten even more separated, right? It's used to be Democrats and Republicans. There would be more of this like overlap of like, oh, we're thinking about a Venn diagram, right? There's that overlap part in the middle that used to be so much greater. And now it's like we are two totally different. There's so much polarity, polar opposites, of people being on one extreme and the other. And you can attribute some of that to social media, and the way that information is circulated. Before we hopped on live, I was talking about the filters on Instagram and how crazy that is, that I can put this filter on and suddenly you were talking about Zoom, I think, before we got started here too, but I can have a completely different face. It makes my nose skinnier. It makes my jawline thinner. oh, that's like scary. I can't imagine being a girl in high school
Mm,
and the way that that would make me feel. I mean, and this is solely from personal experience. I mean, I struggled so hard with body image and feeling like I looked different than other people that I went to school with. I'm like, that I think would have made it like 7 billion times worse,
I
right?
mean, yeah,
And
people are gonna want to focus on virtual meetings if they're uncomfortable with how they look in person, because just throw the filter on and all of a sudden you don't have these problems.
exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, youtube.com/send it rising. If you're listening after the fact, iTunes, Spotify, or the 13 other podcast platforms that we are currently on. I love you. Thank you so much. We genuinely appreciate it. Why don't you join us live? Just go to youtube.com, type in send it rising, or go to youtube.com/send it rising. The little chat box there. You can ask me or the guests any questions during the live show if you're listening after the fact, like the vast majority of people do. Thank you so much. Genuinely appreciate it. Our guest today, Hannah Acosta, on her unicorn. It has a flaming rainbow tail, destroying her enemies ruthlessly. Final words from Hannah. What's the wisdom you want to drop on them?
Gosh, wisdom. Let me think here. I think some businesses are scared of social media. They don't want to be a part of the problem that is coming out of social. Um, but it still can be used for good, right? When we are promoting our businesses on social, whether you're a small business owner, an entrepreneur, wherever you find yourself in the spread, right? At the end of the day, we're trying to make money, right? But money does not always, it doesn't always equal greed. Okay. Making money means a better life for me and my family as the business owner, but it also is provides more opportunity for those who work for me. It allows me to be able to pay them more so that their kids can have a better life, or that they can send their kids off to college, or that they can buy Christmas presents this year. Whatever that looks like, whatever industry that you're in. Ultimately, we're all using social media to make more money, to expose our brand more and to make money. It doesn't equal greed. Don't be afraid of social media. When you're putting content out there, think about how that content is going to impact the viewer, the people who are actually going to be receiving it, and figure out how you can use it for good. Social media can be used for good, and there are 100 million different examples of that, especially when you get into the nonprofit space and all of the fundraising opportunities there. But yeah, use social media still. It's not dead. It's not going away. People are like, what's going to be the next thing? I love when my clients ask me that. All right, Hannah, Facebook's probably going away next year, don't you think? What should we be on next? I'm like, it's not going anywhere. There's going to be evolutions and waves of this, but use it. It's a tool, it's a resource that we have access to. It's okay to want to make more money for your business, provide a better life for you and your family, for your employees. And don't be afraid of it. Just try it. Right?
Yes,
I suppose those are my words of wisdom.
We're good. Ladies and gentlemen, you know the drill. Check out Ugly Mug Marketing, uglymugmarketing.com. And thanks for swinging by the show today. Hannah, we'll see y'all next time.